Young Justice coming up. The bulk of the story is 3 vignettes with the pairings you see there, Batman and Robin, Green Arrow and Artemis, and Flash and Kid Flash. We've had Batman pop up in the series a few times, but other than included some group shots. This is the first that Flash has made much of an appearance, so I had a lot of fun drawing him. But yeah, it was just our simple little pie wedge triptych solution to how to do a cover for an issue with 3 little mini stories in it. I was pretty happy with how it turned out. It was a lot of fun.
And there'll be a preview of this issue in the Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
Okay, when's this in stores then, Justin?
This issue?
Yeah.
Months from now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Free Comic Book Day is when the preview comes out. And
Right.
This is like the end of December.
Okay, and then what do we got coming? Do we have more stuff from them, or?
Yep.
That's awesome. That's one of my favorites. You guys it's like you read my mind for what villains Ian wanted to see this morning. Cobra and Bizarro, and so what do we got going on?
We got Mammoth and Shimmer.
Yeah.
In fact, with it's Cobra kicking Robin from behind. That's just not nice. That's not fighting fair.
You know, hey kids, that's how you can tell that a bad guy. That's how they, besides looking scary, they're always doing something kind of not nice. Definitely kicking Robin in the back of the head is not.
I love that guy's skin rips, so you can see the muscle.
Yes.
Yeah, when I first saw the episode of the show that Mammoth showed up in, and I saw that design, I was like, oh, really? Oh, man.
I better stop working out so much. That could happen to you.
How many Young Justice fans are there of the show?
Yeah.
And so if you read the comic, you know that the comic actually ties in fairly closely with the continuity of the animation, because our 2 writers on it, Greg Weisman and Kevin Haas, they're also the producers, writers on the show. So our storylines really kind of tie in very closely with what will happen. Some of our stories will be like if you'll see an episode of the show where maybe you'll have like 3 members of Young Justice, and you'll think, well, where are the other ones right now? And then we might tell a story of like, Robin's off on an adventure with Batman. So you don't see that adventure on the TV show, but you can read about it in the comics. So all the villains, a lot of the storylines, it's all very kind of tightly coordinated with the show. So if you're not reading the comic, you should, because it really ties in pretty closely with it.
Yeah, those guys, those writers love the DCU. I mean, it's really something that they're passionate about. And you can see it in the show with the number of cool characters and nods to things that they put in. And my reaction is, I see this cover, I'm like, oh, it's that guy, and he's fighting this guy, and it appeals, I think, not just to the kid in us when we're watching that stuff or when we're first reading, DCU books. But is there anybody you want to do villain-wise or hero-wise that hasn't been on the show yet?
Well, I was very happy when we got to have Ra's al Ghul show up, because he's been a favorite of mine for a long time. Like I said, I drew the Batman Strikes before this came along, and I never, in the 44 issues of that book that I drew, never got to draw 3 of my favorite Batman villains: Ra's al Ghul, Scarecrow, and Two-Face. So I would be delighted if either Scarecrow or Two-Face got to show up in Young Justice. We shall see what the future holds.
But
I was very happy to get to Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that's an awesome one.
And I don't know what more covers you have. We have some villains coming up in the comic that have not appeared on the show. So, we'll save that we'll see what comes up in our slideshow here.
Yeah. That's it.
That is
that's
it. Well then.
Well then, yeah, go ahead.
We have a Gorilla City 2-parter coming up, and I got to design Grodd and Solivar for that. That was a lot of fun.
I think we go to Atlantis first.
Oh yeah, well the Atlantis storyline we're in the middle of right now. Issue 14 was part 1 of that, which came out last month, and issue 15 comes out in like a week or 2.
Yeah.
And in addition to a lot of the Atlantis characters that were seen in episode 8 of the TV show Downtime, we have a lot more Atlantis-related characters making appearances, and so there was a lot of design work for that issue. I think we had a good 10 characters that we had to get designs settled on before I could start penciling.
Yeah, we really worked Chris pretty hard on him. It was like a million Atlanteans and bad guys, and then he's like, boy, I hope the next issue they go out and they fight like a polar bear in a snowstorm or something. And then it's like, oh, now we're going to Gorilla City, and you have to draw like 8,000 gorillas. So.
Actually, the next issue following the one where I was saying, could we please get the fighting polar bears in a snowstorm issue, we get the sequence that was the Flash and Kid Flash rounding up escaped animals at the zoo. Oh.
Of all different kinds,
Yeah,
like,
all different
everything.
kinds and like tons of multiple Flash figures, and as they're running really fast, I'm like, oh, good grief. But it's all good. It's fun.
There's a lot of characters in this book. I mean, there's
It
a
is.
ton of characters. So, and I mean, different. I mean, you're constantly rotating in. What about a third of your cast? I guess is.
The Gorilla City story that's coming up. It was noted, it's like we hadn't had the whole Batman sends the whole team on a mission for a while, so that's what that one is. But we've had a lot of stories where it's been subsets of the team, 2 or 3 characters. And usually there will be at least cameo appearances by the other members, but often the bulk of the action is just a subset of the team, which works a lot better when you've got 20 pages of story and you've got to have the heroes and the villains, and it's just there's a limit to how many characters you can effectively service, and that helps keep it a little more manageable most of the time.
When I was a kid, I always liked the comics with the teams or the pairings in them the most, because you got to see people you didn't see regularly. Like, I'd rather see Batman with Robin and Superman in World's Finest than maybe just reading a straight Batman comic, because you're unlimited comic buying.
I loved the Bob Chaney, Jim Aparo, Brave the Bold growing up. I absolutely loved that stuff. One of my favorite comics as a kid was a Justice League issue that was a Justice League, Justice Society, Legion of Superheroes team up.
There you go.
And that had just a bazillion characters running around in it. The more I draw team books, the more respect I get for George Perez.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, I liked him already anyway, but the more of this I do, I'm like, oh man, he's just so good.
Yeah, now we do it though.
For Young Justice, could you maybe give like the members pets maybe?
Pets?
Yeah, can you give all of them?
Doesn't Superboy have?
Yeah, he's got Wolf. So but they should all have pets?
I think so. I
Can
think
they just be pets, or do they have to be crime-fighting pets?
The fighting pets. I think we should just do a book called Fighting Pets.
I suspected I knew what the answer to that question was going to be.
great.
We can do a Super Pets line books.
I'd read that.
Oh wait, did you
Wait,
get that already?
yeah. I finished up the last 6 of a 24-book series right now.
Is there a character that's not good and he's not evil either? He's like half good, half evil?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, we got some of those guys.
Lex
But
Luthor's like that a little bit.
he can be.
Because
Shouldn't be, but
people
he can
think
be.
he's cool and he's just a rich guy and gives things to the city, but he hates Superman.
Two-Face, I think,
Yeah,
is...
Two-Face, kind of Eclipse's deal.
Catwoman's like
Yeah,
that.
Catwoman, I think Catwoman's
Yeah,
probably the
yeah.
most one like that. Art, not Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. I think a lot for DC, at least sometimes it's like guys will be really bad for a while, but then there's something that makes them sort of be good for a while, and then they
Yeah,
kind of come back.
they become
Yeah.
dads and I'm like, all right.
Depends on the story sometimes, but that was a good question.